When war was still fun, when would that have been? War is a horrible thing. When people arm themselves with all kinds of weapons to conquer another nation, it is always on the pretext of so many reasons. In the name of national territories, exterminating the non-believers, or establishing democracy. Many wars have been fought throughout the ages, and always when this mentality of conquering and exploiting another nation prevails in human consciousness, we are willing to slaughter our brothers and sisters in the forms of other human beings. Why in the world, although we are born naked, having nothing which we have come here with and not being able to take anything with us, why do we waste our time fighting? Unfortunately, the human species is not very smart and does not know its actual own self-interest. Although the human form of life is the only way that allows our intelligence to grasp spiritual subject matters, we are busy fighting over insignificant resources and convictions of this temporary world. This type of mentality is actually described by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Maya hatta shatrur hanishye chaparan api ishvaro ham aham bogi sido ham balavan sukhi. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. This mentality is explained by Sri Krishna to be the mentality of atheists who, on the strength of their own power and military force, conquer the world to claim proprietorship and territory for resources for themselves and their nations. So many mad leaders proclaim ownership over this world and shy away from no atrocity, no crime to establish their own person, country or religion as supreme. Although the American nation has once been British invaders that slaughtered the Indian civilization in order to lord over what is now known as the United States of America, the history books suggest they were the good guys. They brought democracy. Democracy is good, right? I can choose every year or so which mad leader will rule me instead of having to accept a single mad ruler that would probably be much worse. So yes, that is progress. Still, the British Empire did not discover America. It was already inhabited by human beings, but still they claimed to have discovered America. Now, of course, the Americans have claimed their territory as being rightfully theirs, because the resistance has long ago been killed by superior weapons. The Russian President Vladimir Putin is similarly claiming Ukraine to be under Russian borders, as it once was rightfully part of the Soviet Union. He thinks his reason for war is justified because he claims ownership over territory as being the rightful claim for his nation. This is the case with all wars in the past and the present. Today's warfare methods that are simply aimed to exterminate the enemy by any means, simply kill, 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 without any rules of fair combat, is simply madness. But once there was a time where war was still fought with heroism, honor and based on religious ethics. 5,000 years ago, when there was a world war in which all military forces of the earth gathered on two sides, there were no civilian casualties involved, because the fighting military forces met on neutral territory to settle the dispute. Those who were powerful and mighty met on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in order to decide by the rights of combat who was the stronger ruling class. The winner of the war would then rule over the entire world. This battle was still fought under religious principles, and if you understand the science of the soul, then we can actually see that this type of war is better to settle the matter of rulership than the mindless slaughtering that is going on in the world right now and always involves civilian casualties. There was once a time where great saintly kings ruled the entire world in a perfect government. These kings were known under the names of Yudhishthira, Bharata and Lord Ramachandra, and are recorded in Vedic history to be in possession of the entire world, with all their subjects being happy under their rulership. These kings were called Maharajas, and they would see all their subjects as their very own children. A government with such a leader who reigns by his power, wealth, influence and religious principles is loved by his people. Such rulers are now long gone, and the entire leadership of today's war makers are nothing but cowards that send soldiers on their behalf to war without taking any part in the battle themselves. The bombs and rockets that are simply built to destroy the opponent leave no place for fair combat and rules of chivalry. Today's war is an affair of terror, cowardice and civilian casualties. In the Kurukshetra war it was common to even praise an enemy that displayed great skill and killed many foes in battle. They would only fight during the day, and at night, when they returned to their camps to prepare for the next day, the opposing party would join the camp and share a meal with them, just to fight another to the death again in the next day. This culture was possible because at that time everyone had knowledge about the soul. The soul cannot be killed by any weapon, and it was known to the Kshatriyas of that time that an honorable death on the battlefield, while upholding and following religious principles, will promote them to heavenly enjoyment immediately after death. And those who won the battle would rule the entire earth. So in this way there was no loss for either side. Only if there is knowledge of the soul can there be true bravery and moral in soldiers, because for them it's either live or die. If you know you will die, you live better knowing that only the body dies while the soul simply transmigrates to another body. Today's warfare is bereft of any Vedic knowledge, is miserable for everyone involved. The rulers of the nations in recent history have always acted on the pretext of national interest, democracy or religious superiority. But the real reason for war is the mentality that anything in this world is related to the soul, and the greed that I need to take more of this world than I actually need. Shri Krishna condemns in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. More and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the lord of everything, I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful and happy, surrounded by rich aristocrats. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. The mere existence of the nuclear weapons makes the situation in the world terrible dark. Any moment there could be a third world war, and once the big world nations decide we cannot talk civilized anymore, there could be a catastrophe. The invention of the nuclear weapon is predicted by Shri Krishna because the mentality that there is no God in control, who is the actual owner and possessor of everything that exists, will always lead the atheists to fight and kill in order to satisfy their lust, greed and anger. So without knowing what the future brings and how the world situation might be changing, I want to explain to you when war was still fun. Of course, war in this world is never fun. It is bloody, it's brutal, and it ends with terrible suffering and death. What could be fun at war? Well, hear me out. We can observe that in human nature there is a tendency to fight. We also fight in sport competitions, and martial arts is a very amazing way of entertainment. This tendency to fight is there in us, but it does not have to be harmful. Some of the religious principles for warriors to fight was not to kill an enemy that has surrendered and begs for mercy, to not attack an enemy that has lost his weapon and cannot defend himself, and to not hit below the waist area. These fighting techniques are allowing the superior to win a fair fight, and that can settle the matter of leadership, because who should lead us but the strongest? A leader who is not brave and powerful or willing to fight personally for his own ideals in battle, but instead depends solely on his military forces and weapons to conquer the world, is simply a coward. But such are the leaders of modern society, that are simply too scared to die, but not scared to let others die for them. Do we really want to be led by such people? Krishna says that a true leader should have the following qualities: heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the natural qualities of work for the Kshatriyas. Without such leaders, war is simply animalistic and destructive. Whether we are in war or not, our true self-interest lies in the eternal loving relationship we have with God, and instead of chopping off each other's head, we should use our time to study the nature of the soul and how to escape the vicious cycle of repeated birth and death. When there is a great calamity and no other shelter is available, people start to pray to God and beg for mercy. Such a situation is in one hand favorable to us because it brings us closer to Him. But if we just sit down idly and wait for this to happen, we are wasting our valuable human form of life that allows us to become perfectly peaceful and happy without the need to do any harm to others. All inauspiciousness and impurity in the heart that leads to hatred and envy can become purified by chanting the following mantra with attention and focus. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Power is meant to protect the weak, not to exploit them for personal gain. But which leader in this age can still handle power? And who could be more powerful and a better ruler than God Himself? In this way, if we worship the Lord with love and follow His divine teachings, there will be no need to fight war. But as long as we believe in the principle of the stronger dominates the weaker, there will be no peace and prosperity in the world, but simply useless fighting to settle the matter of who owns what. An intelligent human being can see the chance this human form of life offers to him, and that even such horrors as war that are now experienced by millions of people can bring us closer to our spiritual destiny. If we can't make war fun again, let's try to stop it altogether by taking shelter to the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, who is always desiring our ultimate peace and happiness in both this world and the next.